Hello there, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talk and Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today. Courtesy of our friends over at boxing247.com, I might add. Yesterday, as you recall, we were anticipating a result out of Japan, Inoue versus Donaire, and I can report that result now. In the second round, the referee stopped the fight with the result going to Inoue, who stopped Nonito Donaire. So I guess that answers that question, doesn't it? For all you friends over in Japan and in the Philippines, Donaire was not able, at his age, to come through. At the end of the day, he was stopped short. Anyway, let's continue down the track here and see what we've got. Our friends over in Minneapolis wanted to report on an undercard result that took place this past Saturday at the Armory in Minneapolis. Super featherweight rising star DJ the War Machine Zamora improved to 9-0 with 8 knockouts, scoring a second round technical knockout against Raul Chirino. The scheduled 6-rounder was part of the super bantamweight unification clash between current unified champion Stephen Polson Jr. and former unified champion Danny Roman. Just a quick report here. With the victory, Zamora, who hails from Las Vegas, stated he's ready to get right back in the ring with anyone they put in front of him. He says, "I want to come out here and make a statement against an opponent who's been in the ring with some notable figures," said Zamora, who just turned 19, by the way. "I have big dreams of fighting the best in my division. My goal is, of course, to become world champion one day, but I know I have a lot of work to work my way up the rankings." Zamora has sparred with some of the best fighters in boxing, which include Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, and Rui Salim, just to name a few. He credits his experience sparring in his hometown of Las Vegas against the best as to one of the reasons he's so sharp. So there you go. A young guy to watch on the rise, DJ the War Machine Zamora out of Las Vegas. Let's fly across the pond to Birmingham, England, taking place at the H Suite in Edgbaston. We'll see Sam Daly go up against his opponent to be named yet. Patience is definitely a virtue for Sam Daly as he enters the last stretch of engaging in a more than belated pro debut. His pro debut should have finally come when BCB Promotions staged the next show at H Suite in Edgbaston, Birmingham, on Friday, June the 10th. It's now the better part of 4 years since Daly last laced on the gloves for competitive combat, long removed from the end of his amateur career. Daly's skills were honed under the tutelage of his father Arthur at King's Head Boxing Club in his hometown Northampton, which saw him be in the hunt for major domestic honors. He built up an amateur ledger of 36 wins from 47 amateur bouts and reached the final of the 2013 National Association Boys and Girls Clubs competition. The 26-year-old super welterweight first signed pro forms in 2020, but he still hasn't punched for pay due to niggling injuries and the pandemic. But he's been hard at work after coming under the wing of pro coach James Conway, with his training base now at the Team Shoebox Gym in Northampton. So there you go. We look forward to seeing that result from that fight taking place on June 10th over in Birmingham, England. Now fly back across the pond here to Florida. A couple of fights to report on upcoming. First one taking place at the Casino Miami JLA in Florida. That's on June 11th. Don King has put together another spectacular boxing card featuring 6 title fights topped by WBA Heavyweight Championship featuring champion Trevor Bryan and the #1 challenger Daniel Dubois. This, as I said, will take place on Saturday night, June 11th. The card is titled The Fight for Freedom and Peace. Begin at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Doors open at 3:30, with the main event featuring Fort Lauderdale's Bryan, 22-0, 15 knockouts, and London's Dubois, 17-1 with 16 knockouts, which will begin, they believe, at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. In addition to the WBA Heavyweight Championship, the NABA Gold Heavyweight Championship will be held as well, featuring Dakari Scott, who's 7-0 from Decatur, Georgia. He'll defend his belt against Jonathan Guidry, who's 17-1-2 out of Dulac, Louisiana. The other 4 title fights on the card will feature NABA Cruiserweight title between champion Johnny Langston and challenger Isaiah Thompson. The NABA Welterweight Championship featuring Trayshawn Wiggins defending his title against Travis Castleton. And the NABA light heavyweight title will be decided between Ahmed Bialo versus Dervin Kalina. And the WBA Continental Americas middleweight title featuring Anthony Lank from Niagara Falls, New York, and Ian Green out of Hallandon, New Jersey. So it's a good card down in Florida taking place, as I said, in June. The fight card, by the way, will also feature two special attractions: a 6-round super lightweight bout with up-and-coming Cuban sensation Reynel Medeiros, who now resides in Miami, going up against Ryan Wilson from Charlotte, South Carolina. And the other special attraction, super middleweight 6-rounder featuring Luis Rodriguez out of Puerto Rico, meeting Ryan Adams from St. Louis, Missouri. Alrighty, let's stay in Florida. June 24th, a special night taking place in Kissimmee. We're going to see former world title challenger Axel Minivega, 15-4-1, returning to the ring to take on undefeated Venezuelan knockout artist Angelino Cordova, 16-0-1, by the way, in the co-main event of the Bomba Gonzalez versus the baby boy Barriga. The 10-round fight, which will be for the WBO Latino Junior Flyweight title, tops off a stacked undercard of rising prospects that will be announced shortly. But nonetheless, this fight taking place on Friday, June 24th in Kissimmee, will be streamed live on ProBox TV beginning at 7:30 Eastern Time. Vega, by the way, is a 22-year-old. He's a contender out of Mexico City who debuted as a professional in 2016. And after only 3 years, Vega earned his first world title opportunity in a rematch against Wilfredo Mendez for the WBO minimum weight world title. Cordova is a native of Venezuela and has developed a 70% knockout ratio in 17 professional fights. The 26-year-old, though, has never fought outside of his home country, but he's ready to make United States debut, one of the biggest stages in the world. So looking forward to that fight and those results. Taking place on June 24th. Also, speaking of fights, on June 24th, we're going to see a couple of women headline a fight featuring an old-time favorite of women's boxing, Jamie Clampett. When she made her boxing debut 22 years ago at the age of 23, Jamie Clampett never envisioned she'd be fighting in her mid-40s, yet here we are, just weeks shy of her 46th birthday, preparing for her 32nd pro bout. And there's still no end in sight. Clampett, the highly decorated Saskatchewan native, 4-time world champion and International Women's Boxing Hall of Famer, returns Friday, June 24th at Bally's Twin River Lincoln Casino Resort in the main event, Summer Splash, promoted by CES Boxing. And she faces the Hurricane, Texamiranda Reyes, in an 8-round lightweight bout, which Clampett says is just another step in the right direction as she continues her comeback following an 8-year absence between 2013 and 2021. Having watched the recent surge in exposure for women's boxing, punctuated by the Amanda Serrano-Katie Taylor lightweight world championship bout back in May, that not only sold out Madison Square Garden, but also drew an unprecedented audience of 1.5 million watching globally on DAZN, setting a new women's boxing viewership record. Clampett is looking to cash in on her 2 decades of experience in the game. And the timing couldn't be better, as Clampett reflects on her 15-year anniversary of her groundbreaking win over female boxing icon Mia St. John in 2007. She's cognizant of the 6- and 7-figure purses promoters are now dishing out for female fighters, which hasn't always been the case in the battle for equal pay in professional boxing. She says, even when I was at the top of my game, females weren't getting paid close to what they deserve. That is one of the reasons I'm coming back. The Serrano-Taylor fight was incredible, and I think I deserve that. I've been around the sport for a while. I'm a pioneer in boxing. They pay females a lot better now, and I think you'll see more females coming out of retirement for that reason. Clampett, per usual, continues to generate industry buzz following her February victory over Kim Wambach, her first win since 2013. While athletes competing in their mid-40s isn't as earth-shattering as it might have been 20 years ago, see Tom Brady and NFL, for example, Clampett's comeback seemingly came out of nowhere. She's been retired for nearly a decade, launched her own business, and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2020 before the desire to compete lured her back into the ring. Anyway, when asked if there's any way to tell midway through a fight, it's perhaps time to hang up your gloves for good, Clampett said, honestly, I don't know. That hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. There you go. Good stuff. All right, now we're going to go halfway around the world to Jakarta, Indonesia for a fight taking place on July 1st. Indonesian rivals Silam Smarang and Frankie Rohai will square off for a third time on July 1st at Barlai Sarbina in Jakarta, with the winner crowned as the Universal Boxing Organization as UBO International Light Flyweight Champion. Rohai won the first encounter in 2017, while Smarang gained revenge when he was declared the winner of a close rematch last November by split decision. Now it's time to settle the score. None of them can boost glossy records, but both are former Indonesian national champions who have proven their worth in championship fights against outstanding opponents. Smarang, who is now 32 years of age, won the Indonesian light flyweight crown in January 2019, but has come short in WBC, WBA, and IBF regional titles since. He has won his last 3 bouts, however, and is now 18, 22, and 3, according to BoxRec. 27-year-old Rohai, I'm not sure, listed as 7-12-1 with 3 knockouts, lost a decision to undefeated Thai Fatinya Pumidet in a fight for the WBC Youth World Super Flyweight title in 2018, but the following year he won the Indonesian flyweight title. This is being promoted by Gustian Thierry Alandi. The highly anticipated rubber match will be one of the feature bouts of MPRO Evolution Fight Series, headlined by former IBO and IBA world champion David Sino Jordan. And for the last story of the day, let's check in with Derek Chisora and Kubrat Pulev for their rematch coming up at the O2 in London, England on July 9th. Derek Chisora and Kubrat Pulev will meet for the second time at the O2 in London on Saturday, July 9th, live on DAZN, excluding Australia, New Zealand, and France for some reason, over 6 years from their 12-round battle for the European heavyweight title at the Barclaycard Arena in Hamburg, Germany. It was Bulgarian star Pulev, who's 29-2 with 14 knockouts, who came out on top on that occasion, winning a tough split decision that saw him progress in their IBF world title eliminator and claim the vacant European crown for the second time in his career. British favorite Chisora, 32-12, 23 knockouts, has since faced some of the biggest names in heavyweight division, including WBC world title challenger Dillian White twice, WBA and IBF world title challenger Carlos Takam, unified heavyweight world champion Alexander Usyk, and more recently 2 slugfests with former WBO champion Joseph Parker. 2-time world title challenger Pulev, whose only losses came against modern legend Vladimir Klitschko in 2014 and unified King Anthony Joshua in 2020, dominated Jerry Forrest to win the unanimous decision on the Sergey Kovalev versus Pavel Pulev undercard at the Kia Forum in Inglewood, California, just last month. Well, said Eddie Hearn, I'm delighted to get this fight over the line. Initially, we worked on some other opponents for Derek, but this fight came out of nowhere a few days ago, and I absolutely love it. I think the strapline Total Carnage is absolutely perfect for this fight in terms of the build-up and in terms of the fight itself. I expect the unexpected, but expected thriller at the O2 on July 9th. So there you go, fight fans. Another episode of Talking Fight, courtesy of our friends at boxing247.com. Appreciate it very much. Thank you very much for joining me. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you at 4 p.m. this afternoon for Knuckle Up featuring Mike Gore and Cedric Ben.